Hello everybody and welcome back to our next Facebook Live. Today we're talking all about email marketing today. I'm here with Jessie and I'm Rachel. We're both part of the marketing team. I'm a digital marketing executive taking care of all the content surrounding our social channels, email marketing and things like that. Jessie, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Jessie. I work with Rachel on EKM's marketing team. I function in a lot of different roles, including doing some events for EKM in normal times, I suppose, and also working on the social media, blogs, all those types of things.
Wonderful. So thank you all for joining us today. We're going to be sharing lots of tips, tricks and things that we know about email marketing to kind of help you drive traffic to your website, build up that email marketing list and all that goodness. So let's get started, shall we? So as you may not know, email marketing is still one of the most powerful tools that you have when it comes to your marketing efforts for your business. Today we'll be talking about a few ways you can first of all build your email marketing list, and secondly how to create the content that's going to drive that traffic to your online shop and ultimately to generate sales.
Yeah, that's right. So according to HubSpot, which is a really great marketing resource, if you've never had a look at it, I would highly recommend. 59% of people believe that marketing emails influence their purchasing decisions. So you may think that the emails you receive to your inbox are annoying or spammy, but actually 59% of people, they actually claim that that does influence the purchasing decisions that they make. And 59% of marketers say that it is one of their biggest sources of ROI or return on investment. So this is something you definitely don't want to sleep on. So we'll be talking about just a few ways that you can build up your email marketing list, your list of contacts, and that's where we're going to start.
Yeah, thanks, Jessie. So one of the first ways that you can start building up your email marketing list, and you might already be doing this, is having a little pop-up on your online shop or your website. So that can either be sort of like triggered by time or scroll when the, however far they get down the page. I think it's called a scroll trigger. So it's just a little pop-up that sort of says, why not join our newsletter? You kind of incentivize them with maybe an exclusive sort of like rate off, or they get the latest updates and newest launches first kind of thing. So just encourage people to sign up to your newsletter, and then as soon as they've signed up to that, they can obviously choose their preferences, whether they want to receive sort of like promotions, sales, or just strictly newsletter stuff. And obviously to build that list, you want to incentivize them with sort of exclusive discounts or like early bird access to sales and stuff like that.
That's right. And if you are an EKM customer, that is something that you can set up within the background of your EKM shop. So if you have any questions about that, we do have some support guides, which we'll be linking. You can also talk to your account manager or, of course, phone our support team, and they'll help you get started with that. On a similar note, if you, so let's say a customer places an order with you, and there will be a confirmation email that goes out to them that says, thank you for your order. It will be, we'll let you know when it ships, those sorts of things. You can actually tweak that wording. A really good way to do it is to also include, and also, why don't you sign up for our email newsletter? And then just like Rachel said, you can incentivize people within that with that, maybe a 10% discount on their first order once they join, or like she said as well, or offering early bird access to sales, exclusive discounts, those sorts of things. So that's another really great tip.
Mm-hmm. On another note as well, if you perhaps have a brick and mortar shop as well as an online shop, there are ways that you can sort of use both of them to build that email list as well. So you could have sort of similar wording and discounts that you did on sort of like your confirmation emails or your thank you emails, and put them on your receipts, or leaflets that you would put into people's bags once they've purchased something from your shop. Another like sort of more I would say a more new approach to this that's kind of to help the environment by stopping to print receipts is, I don't know if you know, when you go to a shop and they buy something, they sometimes say, oh, do you mind if we take your email address and we can email you your receipt? There's obviously two reasons for that. One, to help save paper, but two, and mainly one of the main reasons, is to get that email address from that customer. So they get their receipt for their purchase, but you also get their email address to send them exclusive offers and updates in the future. So it's a bit of a win-win situation if you want to do that approach.
Another way you can do that paperlessly, I think QR codes have had sort of a resurgence in the last couple of months. People are using them, with the track and trace. So a lot of people who may not have known how to use a QR code in the past will now know to look out for them. So if you do a brick and mortar shop, you could perhaps print out a QR code that links to sign up for your email marketing, and then just put that at the till or somewhere that it will be easily visible for your customers. Another great thing you can do is utilize social media. Social media is obviously a very big thing for any business, but you can use it also to grow your other marketing channels like your email marketing. So just here and there, add in a post that says something along the lines of, if you haven't already joined our newsletter, you can join it for access to those discounts. If you join it, you get 10% off. So we could also add it into your Instagram bio. So there's a place on Instagram that you can add a link. If you don't already have a link to something else there, then you could put a link to your to sign up for your email marketing. So that's something to consider.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And obviously another thing that's a big driver for sort of like online websites and shops is a blog. So if you do actually have a blog on your online shop, you'll see that we do it on our own blog as well. We sort of like encourage people to check out our service and things like that. We just have a call to action or a CTA at the bottom of each blog, just to encourage people and suggest to them to go and check out our other services. So you could do a similar thing, make sure to sign up to receive our newsletter. You'll and give them the benefits of why. So you need to kind of let them know what they're going to be getting from it and where the value is for them. So make sure you're mentioning, whether they're going to get exclusive access to new product launches, additional discounts for sales and things like that as like a loyal member of your newsletter and things like that. So that's always just a good one to include.
Yeah, exactly. And then this one's not as relevant at the current moment in time, but we'll still mention it for the future. If your business participates in any events, let's say like a market, a Christmas market or something along those lines, you can make sure that you are advertising your newsletter. Again, you can use the QR code like we talked about earlier. You could offer free gift with purchase. You could just word of mouth encourage people to sign up for the newsletter. So there's a lot of ways to do it when you're in person. It doesn't have to be just online that you're building that contact list.
Yeah, exactly. And one of our last sort of tips for building that email list, and you might not have thought about it really too much before, and if you have, then that's wonderful. We'd love to hear how it's working out for you, but is working with sort of like an influencer on social media, but you have to make sure that it's somebody that is perfect for your audience. So perhaps they are your demographic, who you're targeting. If you're selling jewelry, it might be, females in their, 20s to 30s, etc. So make sure they're the perfect demographic for your customers, because if they're promoting your products or they're trying to encourage newsletter signups, and you're kind of working in partnership, you want to make sure that you are targeting those people that are actually interested in your product and actually want to buy it. So, and partnering with influencers can actually help build your brand visibility. If they've already got an audience, say on Instagram of, a couple of 100,000 followers or 50 or 10, however many it'll be, they're basically spreading the word about your brand, raising your brand awareness, and all around some good PR coverage for you. And that'll help you build those all important contacts, because they'll come and visit your site, have a browse around, they'll get that pop up, they might sign up for your newsletter. So that's just another bit of a different way that you can go about getting those contacts.
Exactly. And I think it's something else that's important to consider is an influencer doesn't necessarily have to be someone who has 50,000 or more followers. There's also what people call micro influencers, which I think is in the sphere of about 1,000 to 5,000 followers. And sometimes people who have a less following can actually be slightly more trusted than people that have a big following, because people know that they'll be getting paid for their posts, where people with a smaller following will be more willing to work with you, and people will trust them. So if you're a smaller business and you don't want to pump the big dollars into influencer marketing, there's still an opportunity there. But those are just a few examples of how you can build your contact list. So we'll move on now to how we'll talk about what you can actually do once you have those contacts, and some activities that you can do all year round.
Yeah. And remember, if you have any comments about your email marketing or anything to do with building emails, creating emails, things like that, please let us know in the comments and I'll have a look at the end of the live and try and answer them as best I can. And if I can't, I'll go away and find out the answer and let you know. So next, we're going to talk about once you've got this magical email marketing list, what do you do with it? How do you engage with those people? How do you get them to read your emails and ultimately visit your online shop and buy from you? Well, there are a few different kinds of email marketing content that you can create to engage with your email marketing list. It's not just about sending a newsletter. There are sort of like, I would say, maybe 3 or 4 different types of campaigns. And obviously, it's going to vary depending on what your business is, what you sell, things like that. Obviously it's all customizable to what you do, but these are just sort of some of the like pillars of email marketing, in my opinion. Jessie, do you want to lead us with the first one?
Yeah, sure. So you can start out with what's called content lead emails. So this can be things like sending out your blog posts, sending out business updates, talking about your new product lines. Basically, so the purpose of the email is not necessarily to sell something, but it's just to introduce some content that you've already created. Or something that's going on with your business. Now, this can be a new product line, so that does lead towards pushing people to buy, but it's more of an informative email and it keeps your contacts updated on things that are going on with both you, if you're a business that's very, you're very upfront about who runs the business behind the scenes, and also about what's going on in your business.
Yeah, wonderful. And one of the second ones, obviously, is probably one that you may be more familiar with as a business owner, is sort of like your sales discounts and exclusive offers type of email marketing. And obviously, with Black Friday coming up, you might want to start looking into planning some of those emails to sort of like promote your Black Friday sale, because you want your customers to know what's happening, what you're doing for it. Maybe they've got an eye on a certain product that you've got and they're just waiting for it to go on sale. So make sure to keep that in the back of your mind. You can also include a bit of mix of a content here, such as a link to your blog. Maybe write a blog about what's included on your Black Friday sale, and then put that into your email, and then that generates the engagement, the click-throughs that you want to people to read the blog, and it's all just a nice big circle of engagement with those customers. You don't want it to just be all about buy this, buy this, buy this. Like, make it informative, make it something that they actually want to buy. So we'll talk about this in a little bit, but you might want to look into your segmentations a little bit as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think following on from what Rachel said there about the Black Friday being a really good time to push those emails, is your customers are actually going to expect emails to increase in frequency around Black Friday time, and also throughout the Christmas period as well. It's something that you'll notice that a lot of businesses do, and people will actually be looking forward to those emails to see what kind of sales that you might be offering. So don't be afraid to slightly, we don't want to over bombard your customers, but you can put a little increase in there just around that time of year. I think your customers will expect that, and they won't be as likely to unfollow for a few more emails than they would be other times of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to take the next one, Rachel?
Yep, sure. So I mentioned it just a little bit then, but sequence campaigns are another type of campaign that you might want to set up. And these campaigns are kind of automated. So you set them up and they just run when a certain action has been taken by that customer. So, for example, when somebody signs up for your email newsletter on your website, that can start off this sequenced campaign, or sometimes it's known as a triggered email campaign, where there's a set of maybe 5-6 emails that are sent with a time delay on them, essentially. So let's say they've signed up for your newsletter and they'll receive this set of triggered emails that are pre-written and pre-planned. So you've already written the content, planned it, and you've sort of like scheduled out how often you want it to be sent. And it'll just automatically continue every time somebody signs up for that newsletter. And what that does, the whole purpose of using sequence campaigns, is to make sure that it's kind of alleviating a bit of the responsibility of making sure that people who've signed up for your newsletter are still getting that engagement without you having to do it every single time. So it's alleviating a bit of work from you, but it's also to ensure that you still, your business, your brand is still engaging with that person once they've signed up for that newsletter, maybe a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks after they have, so they don't forget about you. And if they do visit your site and from your newsletter, maybe they read a blog, maybe they go visit a sale page that you have. And if you've got retargeting or Facebook pixel on your website, then they're going to get those remarketing ads and hopefully they'll become a customer. So sequence campaigns are a really good sort of like tactic to use with your email marketing. And another really good stat that we found, according to Campaign Monitor, marketeers who use segmented campaigns note as much as a 760% increase in revenue, which is absolutely massive. And that's what we're going to be talking about next. I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but segmentation is basically taking your email marketing list, all the people that have signed up to it via your newsletter, your other email marketing stuff, maybe in store, and basically splitting them out into different segments. And obviously, when you're looking at splitting them up, you're going to be thinking about, well, what's the message of this email going to be? Do I need to target a certain, age range, demographic, location, etc.? So you need to think about a way, if there's a way you can segment your contact data so you create more targeted campaigns and messaging. Because those, if you opened an email and you felt like it was written specifically for you, and you're reading it through and you're saying, oh yeah, I want that, that's something I've been looking into, actually I might go and buy that, you're a lot more likely to click through and convert and be a customer. So segmentation is really important when it comes to email marketing. A really good example of this is coming up to the Christmas period. Lots of sort of like e-commerce businesses do, like gifts for him, gifts for her type stuff. So you could literally split your email marketing list into gender, male, female, and do 2 different campaigns with different messaging, different products, and sort of like that'll help generate a lot more sales than if you were just to send a generic, oh, here's our Christmas range, Another example is if you sell clothing as well, you could segment that by gender as well. You could also segment by sort of like product type as well. So like, a winter wardrobe look might be more enticing for people rather than here's our latest range. It's all about the messaging, who you're targeting and what you're saying.
Exactly. That's a really great point. So let's just move on to after marketing. So we've talked a lot about sort of how you can get the contacts and what you can do with them, but we don't want to forget about after marketing, which is basically after you've already made the sale, they've already purchased from you, you've got the end result that you've already wanted. We don't want to forget about them and just let them, go off and buy from another shop next time. So it's important to keep that connection with your customers. So you can actually use email in an attempt to engage them through after marketing.
Yeah, so one of the ways you can do this is the email after you've sent your thank you or confirmation email for their order perhaps should be a sort of like how did we do type email. So you could include things like asking them to leave a product review for the item they've just bought. Bear in mind shipping delays and stuff like that. You might want to put a delay on that email to maybe a week after they've ordered it, so they've had time to receive the product, try it on and stuff like that. Or like ask them to leave a review on your Trustpilot or Google My Business as well, because those are really great sort of like trust signals for future customers. And if they do end up taking the time to do this, it's kind of an indicator that they're more likely to be sort of like an advocate for you and your business and come back again and again and be that repeat customer that we all dream of. However, and this is a bit of a caveat, it does mean that you have to have already given them the best experience possible with your business. So every time you get a customer, always give them the best experience you can to try and get them to become that repeat customer, leaving you good feedback and good reviews to help you grow your business.
Yeah, it's really important that your customer service and the experience that you give your customers is always at the forefront of your decisions that you make as a as a business owner. So using those email marketing strategies that we've talked about can really help to enhance that experience, letting your customers know that you do care about how they feel about the service that they've had. If you can accomplish all of those things, you'll have a really winning formula for getting traffic to your online shop. So Rachel and I will now be looking at the questions that people have been putting in the chat on the live. So I will give Rachel a second to get that up, and I will do the same. We are on a slight delay, so if you are hearing this now, go ahead and put some questions in, and we will get around to them. By the time we finish these, we'll be able to see them and get them. So it's not too late to put in questions. If you have them, go ahead and type them.
Yeah. So we have a question here from Rebecca, who's asked, is there a best time to send email campaigns? There have been lots and lots of studies into this. HubSpot have done loads and loads of research into this. And I think it just genuinely depends on you and your business and your customers. What you can do is you can sort of do like a bit of a trial and error. So maybe 1 week you send your emails during the day, sort of like 12 p.m. once or twice a week. See how they do, what's your open rate, what's your click-through rate, things like that. But let's say you're a clothing business, most people tend to sort of like browse in the evening, so maybe sending that email in the evening would do a lot better than it would do if you're sending it during the day while they're at work, for example. So it just depends on kind of your customers, like what your ideal customer would do, when they would do it, etc. And obviously there's other important factors, kind of like your subject line, to get them to actually open that email up, because sometimes I know I do, I'm guilty of it, I kind of go through my emails and I bulk select a load of them and just delete it. I don't even give them a second thought. So you really need to be making sure that your subject line's good, maybe add some personalization in there, use their first name, because that'll get them to open it up, hopefully, as the first step into that.
Yeah. Sorry. I would also just add in there, when we're talking about when, it's not only time of day, but maybe sometimes considering time of year, day of the week, those sorts of things. There's never a bad time. Well, actually, I would say that's not true. There are bad times to not, if there's been a major tragedy, maybe pause your email marketing or something along those lines. But the times that you definitely want to focus your content is going to be close to any gift giving occasion or holiday. So depending on your business, this may change. But some of the big ones would be like Mother's Day or Father's Day, depending on what type of product that you sell. Easter is also a good time to send out campaigns, because a lot of people will expect sales to be around that. And then, of course, Black Friday, Christmas, even things like half term, when people are going to be taking off time to spend right now at home rather than on holiday. But just keep in mind when things are different than usual, and that's sort of when you want to be sending out those campaigns.
Yeah, wonderful. We've got another question here from Connor, who says, can we schedule emails to be sent for specific periods, e.g. over the holiday season or Halloween? Yeah, so you can set that up with your sequence campaigns as well, so you can set them to send at a certain date. So you can basically do like write all your content, create the emails, and schedule them when you want them to be sent out, and sent to a particular contact list as well, for example. So yeah, emails are really flexible. You can pre-plan them ahead, and that leaves you with a lot more room to be focusing on actually running your business.
We did have another question that just said, can EKM help me send emails? The answer to that question is yes. We do have an email marketing service, so that if you want someone to help you with drafting, creating those campaigns, sending them out, helping you maybe with some best practices, those sorts of things, we have a dedicated expert that is here to help. His name is Matt, so you can get in touch with him. If you want to get in touch directly, it's easy. It's Matt, M-A-T-T-M, at ekm.com, or someone has also put the link to ekm.com/email marketing. Someone has, thank you, Ian, has placed that in the chat as well. So if you click that link, it will get you the link to get right in touch with Matt, and he can help you create those campaigns.
Yeah, I think that link's also in the description as well. And if you're already an EKM customer and you already have our email marketing service, there are loads of email marketing guides that our lovely Eve has written up for us, and the link for them is also in the description of this video. I don't see any more questions.
One thing I will add is, if you are not an EKM customer, we do actually offer email marketing services to people who may be using other websites or platforms. So just because you don't have your website with us currently doesn't mean that we can't help you. So if you do have questions, do feel free to get in touch, and we would be happy to help you.
Yeah, wonderful. Right, if there are any more questions after this and I just haven't seen them, I will double check afterwards and make sure that they get answered as best as we can. Thank you everybody for joining us for this Facebook Live. Next month we are actually doing a Black Friday special with Anthony. Details to be confirmed, but hopefully that'll be a really exciting one. So make sure to keep your notifications on for our Facebook page and we'll let you know when that's going live. Thank you everybody for joining, and we will see you in the next one.
Yes, thank you guys.
Bye.
Take care.